Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dee Reinhardt. I'm going to be your host this afternoon on our webinar about building your optimal impression with Optimal Resume. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, we have our PowerPoint presentation that we will be using. If you have any questions during the time of the presentation, you can type those into the chat pod just below. And if you did not have a chance to already download the handout, you can do that by going to the handout pod, clicking on the link, and then downloading the file. I do have a live screen share. You should be seeing the Illinois workNet page in the middle of the screen. That is where we were going to access our live demonstrations today. And if you have any challenges hearing by computer speaker today during the presentation, you can dial into the number that is at the top of your screen. So let's get started with our presentation. We are talking about building an optimal impression with Optimal Resume, and this is all about our new tool with Illinois workNet that is a great way to make sure that your uh, resume is representing you in the best possible way. You only get one chance to make a great first impression, so how will you do that? And we're going to help you do that with Optimal Resume. What we're going to cover today is how to access your account, the Document Center, which is part of Optimal Resume, the skills assessment, resume, letters, portfolios, video resumes, websites, and interviews. Optimal Resume was selected after an exhaustive search for Illinois workNet when they joined forces with Optimal Resume to provide a comprehensive resume tool to our job seekers. Optimal Resume was selected because of the assortment of tools, the variety of options available, and ease of use, and because they have helped over 2 million job seekers across the country. So how do we access the Optimal Resume through Illinois workNet? And what I want to do right now is I want to bring out this first poll. So do you access your Illinois workNet account regularly? We've got some answers going on. The one thing about the Optimal Resume is the fact that you do get to sign in using your Illinois workNet account. So if you don't already have one, we do suggest that you sign up for one as soon as possible. So let's close that poll now and take a look about how we access the tool from Illinois workNet. First thing that we do is go to the individuals page on Illinois workNet. Once we are there, we click into the Prepare box, and then we slide down to Prepare Your Resume. When we're there, then all we have to do is go to the tool listings, and the top item is Optimal Resume. When we click on that, it will take us to our sign-in where we sign in with our Illinois workNet user account. So it's your personal username and password. Now, I'm already logged in, so I'm going to come into the system here. On your home screen and in your account, you can complete filling out the information, and then any of the personal information that's not there, and then select areas like your career preferences, whether it's you want full-time or part-time, and then you can change this industry information at any time in the future. So just complete your handout there. I'm sorry, complete your information there. And if you are looking at trying to update your resume, all of that information is provided there. So what we're going to do now is talk about the tool itself. And the document center is where we are showing on the screen right now. It is the place where you can create anything that you want to create within the tool. And it includes resumes, letters, portfolios, assessments, interviews, video resumes, and your own personal website. And to access the document center, if you happen to be on the home page of the screen, all you have to do is click here and it will take you to the document center. So let's go back to the document center. And the first thing that we're going to talk about today is our skills assessment. So let's pull out the second poll question. And have any of you used the skills and inventory surveys on Illinois workNet? So this tool gives you some very similar features that you can use to help you ascertain what type of jobs that would be best for you. So as we're looking at the assessments, we can create a new assessment. And I already have a few in here, but let's just look at what the options are that are available to you. When we select an assessment type, we can select a skills inventory, an accomplishment sheet, a proficiency list. So let's start with the skills inventory. And we can give it a new name. And we're going to just call this D3. And as you go through the assessment, it gives you a listing of skills based on the type of career that you had selected when you initially set up your profile. On all of these items, you can pick, yes, you have judgment and decision making. And is it something that happened in a job, in a course, for volunteer work, in any of your memberships or activities, or any interests or life experiences? So then all you have to do is click Add, and you can add some words about how you used the skill associated with that position. You save it, and it fills it in right here so that you can go back to it down the road. And if you want to remove any of these skills or move any of them up or down, you just have to take the little arrow and move it up or move it down. And then you can add additional ones if the ones that you are using are not actually there. Once you have the assessment done, you can find out a definition of it by hovering over the word that you need to use, or I'm sorry, over the actual skill. You can see what it actually means. And then we've already discussed adding some information in there. The next tool that you can do, and if you ever want to get back to the Document Center, you just have to scroll to the top of the page, click on Document Center, and then you can create another new assessment. The same functionality happens with your accomplishment sheet as well as with the proficiency list. So let's just take a look at the proficiency list. For a moment, and it gives you different kinds of categories, and the information is all coming from ONET, which is a very good resource to use to find any skill information that you need. So let's say that I wanted to look at office and administrative support. What are the skills within this particular set of jobs? And let's find one that I want to select here. Let's do human resources assistance. Select, and then you can find proficiencies or add some. So maybe it's filing. I'm going to add the skill, and I can add the proficiency level. Was I a novice, intermediate, or advanced? How many years of experience or hours a week did I do? Maybe it's typing and you can do words per minute. Once you've done that, then you can hit save and it adds it in there for your assessment tool. So let's go on to the next area, which is the resume builder. Let's pull out the third poll question here. Do you have examples for your skills to share with an employer? So that would be some of those skills that we talked about in the assessment area. Do you have examples from previous employers that you could use that could also then be included in your resume that we're going to build? All right, we can close that poll now. And let's take a look at resumes. I have a few on here that I've already created for some other projects that I'm working on. But let's take a look at creating a new resume. What we will do is from the Document Center, let's go back there for just a second. From the Document Center, we would go to the Resume tab, Create New Resume. Once we're there, we have the option to name our resume. And what's always a good idea is to name a resume because you can create additional ones down the road. So I'm going to do, you can also upload a resume. If you choose to upload a resume, you cannot edit it. So it's best if you can open up your existing resume in a Word document or a text file and use it to copy and paste to build a new resume in Optimal. So let's start this resume. We have the ability to browse samples. We can create one that is just sections, or we can start from a completely blank document. So for this example, let's show you the start from scratch. It comes up as a totally blank document with just your address and phone information at the top. And if we don't want to use that, then we can just close that and switch to something else. So what we're going to do now is go back and look at the resumes, the other options. The section, Browse Sections, gives you just the category topics, and it allows you to add your own information. But let's look at the Browse Samples because that's going to give you the most meat within a resume for you to be able to create your own resume using something else as an example. So we're going to pick an area of expertise that we want to look within. Let's stick with the human resources side of things, and we're going to create an entry-level resume. By picking the entry level, I'm given two options from which I can choose to use as a template for my resume. So as I select one or the other of them, it will fill in the information after I choose use this sample. It then fills in my personal information at the top. It gives me all of the components that were in that resume. And as we look at it, then I can choose to edit any of these sections. And the edit function works the same with everything. As we're looking at this, we can click on the section, change the section name, or change the information within it that we want to make a change to. So maybe we want to put our own words in here because it's always best to personalize these resumes for your own purposes. Please, please, please do not ever just use one of these the way it is. That would just be bad. Once we're done with this and we've entered some good words of our own, we can hit save and it will save the section. Let's take a look at these core competencies. We may have uh, some other ones that we want to use, and we may want to add some examples. So when we select the examples, we can click down in here and look for different things that might be something useful for us. We can add a skill. If we click on the area, it shows the words. We can add those words to our resume. So it gives you some great tools that you can use without having to think about extra words of your own. Now, when we're in our work experience down here, it's always good to use action verbs for your resume. Now let's take a look here at one of our poll questions. How many of you have a resume? All right, good. We've got quite a few people that have one in place, which is very good. And if you don't already have one, it's good that you're attending this webinar because now you can find out how to use this great tool. All right, let's close this poll question and go back to our presentation. I'm going to catch us up a little bit in the presentation on the side. One of the things that you can do as well is use the tools again for your resume to make sure that it is sounding as professional as possible. So when we're looking at adding another bullet point in here, we might want to start this with an action verb. And an action verb is one of those words that helps you sound as professional as possible. There's options for strategic words, organizational words, analytical words, or tactical words. So as we're looking at a tactical word, what we always want to tell people in our resume is how we can solve their problems by how we solved other problems for other previous companies. So maybe we advanced And where did it just add it? I'm sorry. Oh, here, it added it down here below. So we advanced the group beyond the basics by adding a new inventory program. That gives us a great way to use those action verbs in our resume. So let's pull out one additional poll question here. How many action verbs are in your resume? That's good. We've got we've got nobody that said none, so that's a great sign right now. It means that the people that you're working with have been giving you good advice. And remember, if you have any questions during the presentation, you can type them into the chat pod, and we will make sure that we help you with those answers. All right, let's close that poll question and go on to talk about the items on the side of the resume. We have the ability with the top to change the style of our document, and it gives you, if I want to make it look like Franklin, it changes the appearance. All in one fell swoop. It will change the layout, it will change the bullets, it will change the font. But if you want to use a different font, you can choose that as well. And it will give you a completely different look. You can pick the kind of bullets that you want to use. Maybe you want square ones instead of round ones. This is great because it lets you make your resume look the way you want it to look instead of what the template is providing for you. So that's a great tool. Now maybe a section isn't what you actually want in your resume. Maybe you don't want to include the summary. You can delete it by just clicking the trash bin to the right, and then it will ask you if you want to keep it or not. And then you can add another section, and it gives you examples of the kind of sections that you may want to add. So maybe you want to add honors and awards, although it's already in this resume. Maybe you took some coursework that is relevant to your classification, your career path, or maybe there's some skills and interests that you want to use. You can always check this section here. And then there's other tips and tricks down along the side for you to help make your resume the best representation of you that you can. So let's take a look right now at this poll question. Do you customize your resume for each ad for which that you answer? It's always a good idea. LaTanya, I don't know if there's a computer that can read the first floppy disk. Is that the 5 1/4? I know that I went to a computer store around here and I got an adapter that plugs into a USB port that will read a 3 1/2 inch floppy. sometimes the programs that you have now may not read those older ones. We did have a question from the audience about, does anyone have any tips for writing a resume for youth with little to no work experience? And right now, I am in the process of writing an article that will be going up on our summer youth employment website, and it is focusing just on exactly that, little or no work experience, and how you can use other skills and interests that you have to and advance your cause to get a new job. So let's close this poll question, and let's talk about how you can use Optimal Resume to create some uh, some items that you can use to customize your resume. So let's look at this one that I created already for manufacturing. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to clone this resume, and we're going to call it Manufacturing 2. We're going to clone it. What this has now done is put another copy in my document center under my resumes. So what I can do is now go in here, and I can rename this resume so that it might be for company XYZ application. Then all you have to do is go into the resume itself and change the information within to add those keywords in to make sure that you are getting a customized resume for your application to that company. The other thing that you can do is you can download your resume as plain text for Microsoft Word compatible, as a PDF, or as an HTML. So if you are looking to send this out by mail, snail mail, you can do that by downloading it to your computer. You can also do a print preview. It is best if you print and practice printing it so that you can make sure that the alignment is proper. The other thing that you can do with this tool is share your resume. And you can share it as a link within an email so that it will take people to this resume on your mini website that we're going to talk about in a little bit, and then share it out to social media or on your LinkedIn profile. So these are some great tools that are available for you on Optimal Resume. The other option that's available here is the Resume GPS. And if there are any employers who are looking for this, and we're going to discuss this a little bit later, if there are any employers that are on the tool, you can click this and make it available to anybody searching for the GPS version of this. Let's move on to the next section, which is letters. And let's bring out this poll question. What kind of letters do you send to business contacts? Good, we've got some answers going on here. Oh, good. I'm glad to see all the thank you letters going out and all the follow-ups after an interview. We're going to talk about a couple of these options in here in a little bit more depth. And remember that in the presentation, we have all of the details for each of the different items. And I'm only covering in this presentation a few of the highlights so that we can cover as much territory as possible and be mindful of your time. So let's close that poll right now and take a look at the letters. We have quite a few opportunities. We have quite a few opportunities to write different kinds of letters. And let's answer a question for Warren right now. If employers do not have ready RTF, which is ready to file, or PDF software, will they be able to view it? So many people these days are using a version of Word or Outlook or other email readers that will automatically open up a PDF file. If anybody is still using Windows XP, they need to be moving forward because it has become unsupported, and many times that older software was associated with that. If you think that it could be an issue, you may want to include a link in your email to Acrobat Reader so that someone could have the tool at their disposal at the moment that they open up your email. That just gives them an opportunity to view it if they do not already have that access to that software on their computer. So I hope that answers your question, Warren. So in the letters, what we're going to do is we're going to create a new letter. This is the same thing as creating a resume, a new resume. So what we're going to do is we're going to do D4. You can upload a letter. Again, you do not have the ability to edit that letter once you upload it, so it would just be there for reference. For reference. Let's start this one, and we have the ability to pick again from samples, different letter types, or you can start completely from scratch. So after you've named it, then you get to pick what you want to do. You can pick all different kinds of ones. So let's take a look at the browse samples. And within the samples, we have follow-up, which we all know what follow-up is. It's coming after something that you've already done. You attended a job fair. Let's take a look at the follow-ups. So we have let me begin by expressing my continued enthusiasm. A job fair is, it was great to meet you at the job fair, at such and such job fair. Follow up and make sure that you're looking at what something says in here. Is it something that you can modify easily and move forward with it? A job posting, you're sending out some information about that particular job that you saw, and you want to share that information. Then we have networking opportunities. How often do you go out to a networking event and meet someone and you want to share information with them? You can use one of these sample letters and maybe not send it by U.S. postal mail, but maybe use it to send some information off in an email. You can use this as a sample. Last few that we have is a reference letter. We're looking for information to ask a potential reference to recommend you. So you can use this information here. we have a referral letter. Maybe you're not right for that particular job, but um, someone that you know is, or vice versa. You've been told about a position from someone else. You can use a referral letter here. Thank you letters are obvious, but let's talk about broadcast inquiry letters. Broadcast letters can be used to investigate an opportunity. Very similar to an informational interview, a broadcast letter will give you the ability to look into a position, whether or not there's actually a position there or not. So you might want to investigate using some of these letters and then attach something with your resume as well. So make sure that you take a look at all of these uh, ideas and samples, or maybe you just want to browse a letter type. You've already got the wording in there. Um, then that way you can just select the letter, fill in the information that it says, and you're ready to go. All right. So the next thing that we can do is talk about a portfolio. And very many people think that a portfolio is only good for a photographer. So let's take a look and tell me what some of the things are that you might want to include in a portfolio. All you have to do is type your answer in the box, and it will show up in the listing below. Oh, good. I like the letter of recommendation. Past work. By past work, I'm hoping that you're meaning maybe a presentation or a other kind of document that shows an example of your past work. Samples of products made. That's a great answer. Work example without specific information about the employer. That's very good because you don't want to give away trade secrets for a company. You want to make sure that you're sharing information that is non threatening to the business of the organization. All right. Great answers coming in. I love all of these. And these will all show up in the recording, and we will be posting the recording on our website, illinoisworknet.com. Let's take a look at the portfolio. On the portfolios, I'm not going to create a new one because the new ones are the exact same process as the other ones. But what I want to do is I want to take a look at one that I've already started. Oh, let's go back to the other one because I know I put some in this one. So on here, what you can do, I do a lot of work for Illinois WorkNet, so maybe what I would want to do is create a portfolio that would include some information about a particular project that I worked. So I might have created the logo or a PowerPoint presentation to go along with something. I might want to include a writing sample of a report that I created. Many organizations require some sort of a writing sample just to see whether or not you use proper spelling, whether or not your grammar is correct. So you can include a document in here. Graphic work that you may have done, websites that you may have created, PowerPoint presentations, videos. So a lot of this is for creative talent, but it doesn't mean that you cannot create a portfolio and add particular items. Now, when you create a portfolio, it does give you, and there is a sample in your PowerPoint presentation of all of the different kinds of portfolios that you could build. As you can see in the upper left-hand part of your screen, if I go to the Document Center and create a new portfolio, it will give you the information. It will give you the information of what kind of template that you want to use. What I like about this is it gives you information about the kind of portfolio. Maybe you want to create a file cabinet portfolio. So I'm looking at a file cabinet right now, and it's folders with documents inside of the folder, and that's what happens this particular with this particular type. So you can see community service. Maybe you served on a board and you created some work there. Maybe you were in leadership and you had a particular set of documents that worked with that. Or maybe you served on a committee for the Chamber of Commerce and you created some files for that project and you want to share that with a future employer. So this gives you a lot of information that you can look at. Maybe it's your qualifications. You've got multiple certifications that you've earned over time, the transcript of your education, other coursework or workshops in which you've participated and earned a certificate. So this is great information. One suggestion that we had was maybe you're a welder and you're required to do certain types of welds. You can take pictures of those welds and include it in a folder. Even if it's a file cabinet folder, you can add a photo version of that. All right, so you can create, again, any kind of portfolio that you would like to create. Let's take a look at a video resume. One thing that is required for a video resume is a webcam. So that's one of the requirements, and if you don't have one, you can go to an Illinois workNet center and make sure that you ask to be put on a computer that does have a webcam so that you can record your video resume. What I want to do right now is I want to jump over to the presentation and move forward from here with this for just a couple of slides. So what you would do, again, is select the type of resume that the video resume that you want to do and name it. There's two options available, one with a teleprompter and one without the teleprompter. With the teleprompter, you can read a script as you are going through your presentation, and without you doing it by the seat of your pants, it's always better to be prepared, so I would suggest that you use the teleprompter version. With the script, it allows you to name your script, and by doing that, you can have multiple videos available to you to share. Optimal gives you different kinds of scripts that you can use, and it might be a thank you, it might be a decline the job offer, it might be an accept the job offer, or it might be a basic 30-second this is me kind of video, or you can start from scratch. There are different types of scripts that you can browse, and then you enter the information in the bottom. So down here, you would enter the information to show what the introduction is, what your objective is, what your qualifications, and how you would close the video. When you've picked part of your text, you would put that in by adding, and and then edit the paragraphs and include specific information for a company if you would like to. When you have completed your script and adjusted your camera and microphone, you need to give approval for Illinois WorkNet to access your camera and microphone. And it's not anything bad. They will not stay on it, so don't worry about invasion of privacy. It is just for that time while you are recording your video. Look at the video sample, test the audio, make sure that the light is appropriate. And if you look at the first picture, I can't get my arrow to work, so I apologize. If you look at the picture on the left, I'm looking down at the camera, and thank you, Chelsea. I'm looking down at the camera. You're seeing way too much of the ceiling. The background isn't flattering. The lighting isn't flattering. So then I adjusted my camera, and it's a little bit better light on my face. It's a little bit better positioning of the camera so that they're not seeing my double chin and they're not seeing the bags under my eyes as badly. So make sure that you're using the camera as easily to make you look as good as possible. And then make sure that the audio is being picked up properly as well. As we move forward, you can adjust the text size on the screen. You're able to adjust the scroll speed as well to make sure that you're reading it at a comfortable pace, and at the teleprompter speed, how fast it goes up and down. When all of that is ready, then all you have to do is come over here and press record, and it will give you 3 seconds before it starts the presentation. After you record a segment using either the script or the not script, you get to play and see and test how it looks, or you can redo it. And trust me, I've redone several of them several times. Or when you're absolutely happy with the presentation, you can hit save. So that gives you a lot of opportunities to do and redo your video if you're not happy. After all the sections are recorded, you can add bullet points to each of the sections. And this is kind of like YouTube, where you can add names and titles and information for each of the sections. And you can pick what color you want the background of the video to be. So let's take a look at what that last one looks like. So I added some bullets, I added a green skin, and I added some action verbs in the text of the area. So let's move this back up here, and we'll take a look at my final product for the video resume. Just so that you can see. And I'm only going to play just a moment or two of it. So it tells them my name and my occupation. And we don't have any sound going, but as you can see, it starts out, and I'm talking, even though I don't have my microphone or my speakers on, so you can't hear it. And then when I finish the section and it moves to the next section, it brings up the different bullets and transfers into the next segment of the video. My thought is you need to be prepared and ready to go and watching your monitor so that you don't have a lot of bad transitions. Betsy, I don't know if you can upload a video. I think it has to be done in the program. I did not see where you can do that. Let's go out and take a look. Create a video resume. Do No, I'm sorry, Betsy. You can only do it within the program. All right. Last but not least on our video and optimal resume and all of that kind of good stuff here on optimal resume is our website. And the websites that you can do, again, is create a new website, which I'm not going to do to save time. We're going to go into the one that I have as an example, but you would do the same process. Create a new website, name it, and then you would select from the options of what you want to do. And within the website, and all of the details are in your PowerPoint presentation, so if you want to take a look at those, you can. You're able to pick the type of template that you want to use. You are able to include a sidebar or not include it, and you can then share that website out. So let's take a look at what I've added to my website. We have a resume that I've added. I have one of my portfolios on there. I enabled a skills section on the website. I added my video resume. And if I wanted to create a letter or add a recommendation letter that someone has given me, I could include that segment as well. So when we look at my website, oh, and look, I've got 7 hits already. I can click on the URL, and it has Illinois WorkNet.confidentialresume.com and my basic website. So if I take a look at my website, this is what it looks like. It starts out with my resume, and it has a link to a Microsoft Word compatible one as well as a PDF version. It has links to my LinkedIn profile, my Twitter handle, and my Facebook page. It has a page for my portfolio on here, and it has a page for my skills. And as you can see, I took some of the skills and I added some individual items for each of those skills. So it's a really good idea to make sure that you fill that out. And then it has a page for my video resume. And we already have watched that, so I'm not going to play that for you again. This is a great tool that we have available for our use in Illinois through Illinois WorkNet. And the last section that we're going to talk about before I go and answer some questions, oh, I'm sorry, I've got 2 more sections to talk about, is interview prep. And on the interview prep, we're going to get back out into the Document Center. And we're going to slide down here to interviews. In the interviews, it gives you the ability to use your webcam again, ask a question, and then record what your answer would be. Here is the question. Would you consider yourself more of a team player or an individual contributor? It will play it here. And again, we can't hear the gentleman talking. I would enable my webcam to record my answer, and then in the last section, it gives you some coaching about the answers that you have given in your recorded answer. Now you can record it visually, or you can just record the audio, or you can just practice without recording anything. So this is a great tool. There's 20 questions for each section of it, and you can just go from question to question and provide those answers. So this is a great tool for you to practice before you're going on an interview. Okie dokie. Now, last but not least, there is a section in Optimal Resume that we talked about a little bit earlier for the resume GPS. There are about 2 million jobs that have been found across the country using Optimal Resume as a tool. And as we showed you earlier on your resume, so let me open one up. You want to use the resume GPS. We want to opt in for this, and then anybody using the GPS option would be given access to your resume. So it's a great way for people across the country to make sure that they can find your resume. And you want to open that up if you're willing to move or if you're looking to move to a different area. So that's it for our presentation, our formal presentation. Let's take a look at some of the questions that came in that I would like to answer for you before we close our recording for the day. From Tarita, we have, in regards to letters, resumes, reminders, etc., how much is too much to send to employers? Well, Tarita, what I would suggest to you is to send a follow-up thank you letter to a person if you have had an interview. If you met them at a job fair, what you need to understand about that is that they are receiving many, many, many resumes. They've been out of the office for a day or two or maybe even a week. So giving them time to get back to the office and follow up with you is important. Make sure that you do watch for closing dates on job postings to make sure that you're not really contacting someone before the closing date of an application. And then just make sure that you're polite whenever you do send something. Always make sure that you're offering new information if you do reach out to somebody so that they're not seeing the same information time after time. Tom asks, or suggested in the chat, the suggestion to customize resumes is a great one, provided a person has relevant experience in that field. What is happening is that many people are customizing to get an interview and not have the skill set for the actual position. And I see that, I can see that happening. One of the things that needs to happen is that you need to make sure that you are telling the truth about skills and expertise, because you don't want to waste someone's valuable time. What's the difference between a video resume versus a business sizzle reel of your work? Tanya, I'm thinking that a business sizzle reel is a quick snippet from point to point to point of things that you've done. And that's a really good extra piece, but a video resume is a little bit more of your face talking. I call it a talking head video. It's your face talking about what your skills are and what you are doing to make sure that things are progressing for a potential employer. I hope that answered your question. If you can type yes or no in the chat for you, I would appreciate that. And I think we already answered Jacqueline's question about, can I create a video at home or do I need a certain program? If you have a webcam, you can create the video in Optimal Resume, but you do need either a laptop with a webcam or you need an extra standalone piece on a desktop computer. Many tablets will have a webcam in it, and I know my smartphone will flip either facing me or away from me with a recording program. So I don't know how easy it would be to use your smartphone with the Optimal Resume program. You may want to try it from a laptop or tablet at least. Does the site have samples of the action or tactical words? Yes, we covered that. They are called action verbs, and you can find that in the resume itself. How can you send a thank you email letter for a phone interview? The same way, but you would need email contact or mail contact information for that person. Warren asks, is it okay for an ex-offender to put down on his resume what he learned in prison, and should it be reflected as state of or Department of Corrections? There is a whole lot of information out in the Illinois WorkNet centers about ex-offender information. I would be careful with what you're writing because you don't want to raise any additional red flags. Um, Everything can always be explained in a cover letter so that the resume is not affected if it's used in an automatic tracking system. Madeline says, I have a professional degree, DDS, but am looking for other types of work. Do I include it in my resume? In a resume, you want to make sure that you have relevant information on your resume so that it is going to be used if an automatic tracking system is reading it, it's finding the relevant information. Now, the one thing about the professional degree is that it shows that you have advanced training. Are you trying to stay in the same field but just different work? Is it going to be relevant to the new type of work that you're using? If not, you may want to leave it off and just discuss it down the road. So do we have any other questions from the audience? Please type them into the chat pod. We are right at an hour right now. I know we have a few minutes left that we can answer some questions. Please take a moment to answer the poll questions on the screen for you right now. If there's anything else that we can help you with, please contact us at info@illinoisworknet.com. If you would like to watch the archived video of this presentation, you can visit Illinois WorkNet, find the Prepare section, and look under the videos. And you can also watch it on our YouTube channel by searching Illinois WorkNet. We do have a couple of other questions that have started popping in. So let me see if I can catch up with them for just a moment. Excuse me. Oh, great tip, Dallas. Is there some type of certificate for attending this webinar? No, unfortunately not. It's just good information for you. Then we have military experiences are always difficult for me to input on either cover letter or resume. What would you consider best when writing about those? Well, guest, I would suggest that you try to find the transferable skills that are available to make sure that you can relate what a military experience might be and convert it to the general population of our country. And there are some examples and help on transferable skills on Illinois WorkNet. So if you just look around for under the prepare section, we can find those items. You can find those items. And if Chelsea can find that link real quick, maybe she can put that in the chat pod for you as well. Oh, I'm missing a question up here. Oh, I see what a sizzle reel. Okay. Yes, you're talking about your, okay. It's called something else, but yes, it's basically, Tanya, the same thing that we were talking about with the video resume. Military, and Dallas suggested military members should check out the TAP, Transition Assistance Program, available on Department of Labor. Great tip again. Scroll down just a little bit more. All right. All right. I don't see any other questions right now, although we do have some additional people typing at the moment. We'll hang out for just a moment and see if there's anything else that we can answer for you. I am going to end the recording right now, and we will answer your questions in the chat. Uh, Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you have a great afternoon, the rest of the afternoon, and have a wonderful rest of your month. Join us again. Watch for upcoming webinars on IllinoisWorkNet.com. Have a great day.